What we're witnessing in Washington state right now is an exercise in democracy, the likes of which our state has never seen, at least not in my lifetime. This segment is brought to you by Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Some patients like me can lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. Schedule your free 15-minute consultation today at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. You know, we already know that we have this one-party control in Olympia and really across much of the state, where you have one party, Democrats, making a lot of the decisions and making decisions sometimes without any bipartisan support and pushing them through because they can. And that has been the choice of voters, right? There's a reason why we have a Democratic majority in the House, the Senate, a Democrat in the governor's office for 40 years, Democrats in control of most of our major cities. And that's because that is the decision that voters have made. But that doesn't make it any easier for the probably 40 to 45% of Washingtonians who aren't in line with many of those decisions and many of those policies. And I've said the last remaining check we have on power is the people's right to initiative and referendum. And man, is that right being utilized in the last year and a half to great effect. So Let's Go Washington making a major announcement yesterday that they are going to be turning in well over the necessary number of signatures for Initiative 2066 this week to the Secretary of State's office. I told you they probably needed around 410,000 signatures. Well, they're going to go down to the Secretary of State's office tomorrow at 3 p.m. and they're going to turn in 425,800 signatures from Washington voters who want to protect natural gas as a choice in their homes and in their businesses. And 425,000 is already a lot, but that's not even the end of it. They still have all the signatures that were turned in and collected over the weekend. They have signatures that are still arriving in the mail. So while they are going to turn in 425,800 signatures tomorrow at 3 p.m. to the Secretary of State, it is very possible that they hit 500,000 in a month and a half. That's insane. It shows the organizational ability of Let's Go Washington, what they've been able to achieve over the last year and a half, running 6 initiatives last year, being able to have that infrastructure in place, the names of voters, sending voters copies of 2066 in the mail who'd signed previous initiatives, and how quickly they were able to do this in a month and a half means no policy is off limits. This puts Democrats and the party in power on notice in a major way in the state of Washington. When they push through something like, in essence, a ban on natural gas at 2 a.m, like they did this past legislative session, thinking they can get away with it because they're the party in power, they can do it at 2 a.m. when no one's watching, they can claim it's not a natural gas ban. No, that's not what it is. And think, well, we have enough power, well, it won't matter. It does matter. And around 500,000 voters think it matters. And so it is so hard to overstate the significance of this and how Democrats are now going to realize that they can't do things like this without pushback from the public, without the public utilizing its last remaining check on the party in power. So you've got 425,000 that are going to be turned in. If, by the way, you want to participate in the turn-in process outside the Secretary of State's office, you can join Let's Go Washington tomorrow at 3 p.m. to do that. A couple other things. We need to send a message that banning natural gas would be deeply unpopular. That means if you still have a signature for a sheet that you haven't turned in, look for locations at letsgowa.com to turn it in. You can turn it in before July 5th, the sooner the better, and they can make a second drop-off at the Secretary of State's office with any additional signatures. So if you mailed it over the weekend, they're still going to be counting those, they're still going to be going through those, they're still going to be dropping those off. The more signatures, the better. But this is immensely meaningful. What I'll also say, I just want to reiterate, even for those of you who might be Democrats, we love our Democratic friends, no big deal. Even for those of you who might support a ban on natural gas, given how effective Let's Go Washington is now showing it is at collecting signatures for initiatives in a timely manner, I think that makes it even more likely that if Democrats get a supermajority, they will do everything they can to get rid of our constitutional right for initiative and referendum. They have already, in essence, eliminated the ability to run a referendum on a new law. Because what do? Remember, they put an emergency clause in to even laws that aren't emergencies. And that means that it bypasses the ability to run a referendum to repeal a law, because referendums are much easier to do. It doesn't take the number of signatures, the amount of work to run a referendum. So they don't want to do that. So they have taken that away without taking it out of the Constitution. Any time that they pass a bill that they believe could be repealed on referendum, that they know is not popular, they call it an emergency, and they stop us from exercising our right to referendum. So they have a ban on, they got rid of referendum in principle already. So now we just have initiatives left. So be mindful. I don't think there's a single voter in the state of Washington, maybe a couple. I don't think there's a single reasonable, rational voter in the state of Washington who thinks it would be a good idea to give one party completely unchecked power and to give up our ability to run initiatives. And if you do think that that's okay, I highly suggest getting your head examined or living in a different country without a democracy, because that's what that would result in. That essentially nullifies our democracy in Washington state if you've got a supermajority for Democrats and no ability to put a check on any of their ideas at all. So big news. We'll have more on this tomorrow, but congratulations to Let's Go Washington on Initiative 2066. They're well over the number of signatures to have a good balance to make sure that, if there's any that aren't valid, et cetera, they still have enough. And a huge thank you and congratulations to the voters of Washington state who made this happen during the summer months, found a way, there's a will, there's a way, found a way to sign this initiative to get us over that threshold. So